Hey David, nice to meet you.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Excellent. So with Dotty Soul, Adam is making his directorial debut. You've worked with so many directors. First off, what is his style, in comparison to some of the other people you worked with? And then also, is there any challenges, working with someone that's making their directorial debut?
Yes. Um, so the challenge with this thing really was the dealing with the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we started the movie and then we're down for I don't know how many months, and then we started again, then off and back and forth. So that on top of being a first time writer, director, filmmaker, producer, I mean, so I was impressed how unflappable the guy was. He just kept going, you know. He never quit, never uh didn't I never saw him have a bad day. So that's very impressive to hold it together through all of that stuff was very impressive.
Excellent. Yeah. And how did you get involved with the film? Brannigan's a very I guess multiple levels to this character. So why did they reach out to you, or how did you get involved in this?
I had a meeting with Adam and one of the producers, and I'd read the script and I liked it. And I'd not had a chance to work with Gary before, and so that was a treat. And then what else? Margot, sorry, this phone tree. Margot Bingham and I had worked together before, so you know, she and I didn't have any scenes together, but I knew we were going to get the chance to hang out, so that's always welcome. And then it's a privilege to work with Leslie. So all those things were just stack up to yes, 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 and yes.
Yeah, this does have quite the ensemble cast. I get, and you mentioned it. Is this when they reached out to you initially? Was this cast already attached, or was this something that kind of came over time?
To my memory, it was, but
Okay.
like that we're going back to
Yeah.
February 2019, which is when this started.
Yeah.
So I can't remember exactly who was cast at the time.
Okay. And obviously this touches on kind of a like a an interesting topic, race, in what ultimately are you guys hoping that fans get out of this? It is a fun ride from beginning to end, but there is a message, deep down there.
Yeah, I think the message is reckoning.
Reckoning. Okay, how so? Just
Everybody has a reckoning in this film.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And while I did love you as Brannigan, I think that this role was kind of made for you ultimately. uh I could see that I can understand why they reached out to you. It makes sense to me. But I have to mention, while I have you, this is a fantastic opportunity. I'm actually having heart surgery at the end of the month, so this is probably my last interview of the month, and I was so stoked to get it. I wanted to mention one of my favorite performances of yours, and to me, it doesn't get any better than Cheap Thrills. And I wanted to mention it because while they are similar characters, obviously one is a little bit more eccentric, a little bit more outrageous, and I wanted to see if maybe you had any memories of filming that movie.
Cheap Thrills, one of my favorite projects I've ever done. And you're right. I wish more people were exposed to it. Just for your audience, not for children.
Yeah.
But it's one of the highlights of my career. And I was delighted how well it turned out as another first time filmmaker. And
Yep.
I was like, how's this going to work? Um, we shot it 9 days during a heat wave and rolling blackouts. Um, but there was something special going on every day. That was an amazing cast. I wish I could I wish that was a TV show to work with those guys every week, you know?
Yeah.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic group. And I was blown away how well it came together. Because you don't know. It's an independent, that thing cost, I don't even know how much, nothing, 25 cents. to make. It looks great. It works great. I was surprised by the audience reaction. I got to see with an audience more than once. I was like, wow. I had no idea there'd be this type of electricity, and I didn't know there's that many laughs in the film.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, oh, right, they have to realize they're not making this agreement. So they have to give themselves a release. Like, this isn't real. That's right. I'm not agreeing to this sinister activity, even though you are, as an intellectual process. Yeah. So it's one of my favorites.
It's one of my go-to recommendations. Like when someone asks me, tell me a movie that I haven't seen that I'll love. And it was one of my favorites of that year. And to kind of go full circle, you are, when people think of you, they think of comedy. And your character in this movie, Dotty Soul, isn't exactly comedic. How do you balance, with Cheap Thrills, it's kind of a black comedy or a dark comedy, but how do you balance the comedy, with the seriousness? Because I know your background, you do stand up from time to time. How do you do that?
I guess, not to be glib, but just do your job.
Yeah.
I've been doing this long enough that I think, things come naturally now. You're able to do it with a certain amount of alacrity, but really just go do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. It's not about me. It's about, as I said to someone earlier today, it's like you're a public defender, and this character is your case.
Yeah.
You got to go out there and defend the reason to exist.
I really do like that and appreciate it, because the few sets that I have been on, I'm panicking, trying to remember my lines, and I'm usually trying to get closer with like the more seasoned actors to try to, get ideas, or, maybe, rub off on them a little bit. What can I learn from them? And then I see someone else, not, tending to their case, if you will. And it bothers me. Like it's a slap in the face to, everyone else that's busting their ass. It's just, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do your job, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. We touched on Cheap Thrills. We touched on, Dotty Soul. Another one of my favorites of yours is Krampus. But I guess, and just to kind of touch on that, it is one of my go-to, every year. My 7-year-old fell in love with it this year. Saw it in theaters multiple times. But you have a huge catalog, man. And I guess, with Cheap Thrills, it's one of my favorites, Krampus. What's one of your favorite roles, or like what is something that you think maybe a performance that gets overlooked? You have so many good ones that I would love to mention, but
those are the two that would always come to mind. It's always Cheap Thrills, because I do, I tour all the time now, and we also do this thing. We do the Office trivia with the real Todd Packer, and part of that show is a Q&A.
Yeah.
And so I get asked that question all the time. What is a show that a lot of people don't know you from, or something like that? And it's always Cheap Thrills. Well, I always say, you've got to check out Cheap Thrills. Yeah. So I'm an advocate, and Krampus is the other one.
Yeah.
And I love it every Christmas when more and more people get turned on to Krampus. I call it a holiday horror with humor and heart, the 4 H's.
Yeah.
If there is a family horror movie, Krampus is it.
I couldn't agree more. You here at CineDump, we let the doers know how they're doing. And David, you are doing just fine. I truly appreciate your time, man. I am a huge fan, and yeah, this is a long time coming. I couldn't ask for a better interview. Thank you so much, sir.
God bless, brother, and healing hearts to you, baby.
I appreciate that, man. I really, truly do.
It's going to be great. God bless.
Thank you.